If you're on the fence about using AI content for your SEO, then you need to watch this presentation I did at PubCon Pro 2023. This is the premier event that's been running for over 22 years with experts from Microsoft, Internet Marketing Ninjas, Bruce Clay, Wix, Majestic, and so many other leaders in the SEO and marketing space. Watch this presentation now to learn what I told the PubCon audience about how they need to embrace AI for SEO.
So Leonard Ravenhill was an author who lived in the early 1900s, and he said this: the opportunity of a lifetime needs to be seized within the lifetime of the opportunity. And we are in an incredible time that we've never seen before, where AI has advanced so much that we're literally in an incredible opportunity. Should we choose to take advantage? We have to do that. So if you're like me, you might have asked, what is AI? Where does it come from? It's not a hype, it's not trend, it's real technology, and it comes from multiple things. At the epicenter of these things is AI. So it comes from machine learning, computer science, the study of human linguistics, our own language. NLP, LLMs come from that, and deep learning, machine learning. So it's not one thing, it's really a conglomeration of multiple things that have advanced so much that they're insanely good. Wrong way. So, in short, AI is machine's ability to perform cognitive functions that we normally associate with the human brain. And what's incredible is the advancements. So in the last 24 months, it went from 100 million data points to over 100 billion. And we've never seen technology advance like this right now. We're literally living in a revolution. So AI comes from algorithms that are trained on data. So these algorithms can detect patterns and predict. So they're good at detection and prediction. They're frighteningly good. So I ran a human writing agency. I mentioned I would tell you this story for 10 years. And I did sell it in 2021. Yes, I saw what you can see on the horizon. It's part of the reason why I sold it. But I'll tell you, I didn't really think that it would replace me. I've been a writer for 10 years, wrote over 1,000 blogs. Danny was my editor for a long time. So even though I sold it, and I'm like, I'm going to get out of this now, I really didn't think AI would touch what I could do. I didn't see it coming. So that's why I was on stage at Digital Marketer last year saying this: do not hire, or do not use AI, hire a writer. AI is garbage. So then not even 30 days later, I changed my tune completely. And the story is that I actually found AI technology that rivaled me. It wrote content as good as me. So I couldn't deny the reality anymore. If I did, like, that would be stupid. So I was on stage at the same event saying a completely different story. I didn't actually say that, but I almost did. And human writers are still needed. We'll get into that soon. The role is changing. So C.R.A.F.T did a study in 2022, and they found that over 80% of marketers not only know that AI is better than a human writer, but they're embracing it. They believe that it's the future of marketing. So it's crazy over here. So I thought my writing agency did a lot. 10 million words a year. I thought that was a lot of content. Danny mentioned it too. Julie, you're doing a lot of content. But I can tell you, at the AI technology I now work for, because I completely switched sides in January, I started to work for the AI technology I believe in, which is content at scale. So we're doing 50 million words per month. That's 5 years of content production in 1 month. It's unreal. And this is human-like good content. So if you've ever been a part of large-scale SEO content campaigns, you know that hiring a writer, managing that writer, getting on top of deadlines, getting all of that is probably the hardest part of it. It's that actual writer hiring, managing that process. So it used to take a ton of writers to get to 100 pieces a month. Sometimes it would be 10, 20, 50, or 100, depending on what you were doing. So now, at Content Scale, we're actually seeing people do the same level of production with just 3 humans. What used to take 20, 50, maybe more humans, depending on what kind of content you're doing. And they're running the ad machine. So I think there's a lot of smart people here at this conference, as I've learned. So you might already know this answer. Those people penalize non-human content. Show of hands, do you know the answer? You don't have to say you do. People do. But we'll get this question out of the way. So, as people notice, last year in April, they said they were totally against AI content. This headline was in the news. The bill says AI-generated content is against our guidelines. Basically, don't do it. So then, that fall, Danny Sullivan, the liaison at Google, articles on Twitter, Google had been called out because a lot of content was ranking and it was 100% AI generated on big sites. So when Google was called out, Danny Sullivan tweeted back and said, "We haven't said AI content's bad. We should did." And he said that content written primarily for search instead of humans, that's the issue. So along with the statement on Twitter, their search guidelines began to change that fall. They edited them, changed them to say it's not about AI content, it's about spamming AI content. That's the problem. So then, this year, in February, this is what Google says. We reward high quality content. It doesn't matter how you produce it. So it doesn't matter if AI is actually involved. It matters, is it good? But what Google has always cared about in the end. So now, AI is actually in search. So Google went from anti-AI, don't use it at all, to we don't really care how you create your content, to AI is now in search. So as Google does complete 180 on what they originally said. So the short answer is that you can use AI to create content. We know you can, Google has said so. And it's pretty clear, there's a ton of AI content that's been written, that's ranking. But how you do it is important, and you cannot skip the human review part. This is critical. So there's a role that I've helped a lot of writers step into. You can see it there at the bottom of the screen, called AIO. And this is defining what you should be doing as a writer. Because to sit there and write analog, the human way, is really archaic when you can use AI to develop content 10 times faster, and it has more data points than the human brain ever will. It's going to be better. But we still have to remember this, that people buy from people they trust. They're not going to buy from a robot-generated piece of content. They're going to buy from that author, that brand that they trust that this won't change. And that's why no matter what, we have to humanize our AI-written content. So this is a framework that I came up with, and two reasons behind this framework. First, it's a way to help writers think about this as a new craft, because that's what it is. Writers have a new craft. They're no longer sitting at the computer generating entire drafts from scratch. What used to take 7, 8 hours is now taking 1 hour, 30 minutes, 10 minutes, depending on what you're doing. So craft is a way to also remember with an acronym how to approach AI-written content. You have to cut the fluff. AI is notorious for a ton of fluff. It kind of writes and writes and writes. So you have to think about editing that down. That's your first step. And then you want to review that content, optimize it. Think about it from a search perspective. Does it have the right keywords, right entities, or in the right places? And then you're going to bring it to life with images, visuals, and media. And of course, we can use Midjourney and other ways to produce that with AI as well. And then fact checking. OpenAI says clearly on their blog that there is no source of truth for ChatGPT, so you definitely have to fact check whenever AI writes your content. And then trust build. That's personal story. That's adding in your touch. Whether that's a writer doing it, putting in your brand style, or you as an author. So how do you actually 10 to 25 extra SEO content productivity? That's not the big headline. It sounds like it, but we'll talk more about that. So the huge opportunity that I see in the room with somebody that created SEO content. We did 40,000 projects in my agency. So the opportunity that I see right now, first of all, is two things. The first one being use AI to get faster at your content. We can, it's okay, it's kosher with Google, and the technology exists that allows us to do it really quickly but still produce good content. And then the second part is to actually get found in SGE by focusing on adding in personal experience. So that extra E, experience, is critical going forward. So here's an example of a couple of people that are adapting to AI. They're using AI to generate entire blogs. John and Victoria Derrick, they own HawaiiGuy.com, and they're getting found in SGE as well as a first blue link. So what they're doing is producing content with AI, and they're doubling their weekly output. They're generating entire pieces with AI, but they're still editing it. It's John looking at the content, putting in his voice, using that craft framework to make sure that, it's good content, because that still matters. This has to be human, has to affect and touch our human readers. So here's another example of Troy. He owns copywriting.org, and he did insane growth on his domain with AI content. And what was incredible about this story, he didn't hire a single human writer, but he produced 70 articles in 1 month. He literally just gave the AI machine to his SEO person. And that SEO person ran it, applied the craft framework, make the content good, and then hit publish. So how many writers would that have taken? 70 articles in a month. I ran a content writing agency. It would have taken probably 70 writers. So this story is amazing. This comes from Kirksey, CEO.com, sitting right there. And he is talking about how he's incorporating this not just into his own marketing, but his services, which is really beautiful. You can get so lean at what you do when AI is the baseline of that production. It's a lot easier, right? AI doesn't go missing. It's there. We can run it at any point in time. So he actually said this, and I love this quote because I think it summarizes where the age we're living in. The amount of content we can produce is still good, that has our touch. It's no longer an obstacle to create content. So he described it as the golden age of content because what used to be hard, content creation, the hardest piece of an entire campaign, is actually now easy, which is crazy. So I mentioned that the 25x number would not be clickbait, and here's my proof. So I actually helped an amazing agency based in Sacramento. Justin's up there with me on a Zoom call, along with his writer. I helped them adapt to the process of AIO, where they took their writers, made them the optimizers instead of the writers. And they got literally 25x in a reduction on their costs. And if you scan that QR code, that's an SOP that I wrote for the team, kind of guiding them through the steps you need to follow. Because you don't just want to throw the AI machine at your writer, you don't want to get in front of it yourself unless you actually know what you're doing. So here's a publisher that used AI to write over 1,000 blogs. And here's how it went. This guy runs affiliate marketing dude on YouTube. He's highly followed, and he ran this experiment. So 95% of all of that content wasn't humanly touched. It was 100% straight out of AI. And we actually have shirts that say straight out of AI. It's part of the running joke. AI is this good, which I didn't think myself. Last December I was on stage, literally anti that message. But we're here. So he only edited 5% of the entire mass of content, so just a few blogs. And the rest was 100% by AI. So what he was able to achieve, these are generalized informational searches, right? He has a website talking about emojis. So if you are on a more specialized scale, you want to put in more human work. I will preface this message with that. So this is more informational, generalized content. You could really succeed with your website and fuel it with an AI content writer and do really well. So he's ranking at the top for keywords with 17,000 searches per month, getting insane traffic, and AI wrote most of this content. Crazy. So we all know this, right? The extra E and EEAT. This was added last December. And I think that what Google was trying to do was to get ahead of what's coming, which is a lot of AI content that's honestly garbage. It's just spit that comes straight out of ChatGPT. It's spit out, it's put on a site, it's published, and people will vote for the work. But you can't treat your content like that. It needs more of a human touch. So when Google added experience, that extra E, they focused on a few key phrases in the guidelines that really stuck out to me. And so I'll read a few of them. So Google's talking about content that's created by people with a wealth of personal experience. Talking about the authors on search engine land, the people with byline experience. That is going to be more and more trusted. But I'll tell you, like when I write a blog for Danny, I'm using AI to save 6 hours, but I'm still humanly editing it to make it my own. So that's what Google cares about. So Google said this, and I thought it was funny because if you put a robot in there, it wouldn't work. Would you trust a product review by somebody who actually used the product? Or you could have said by a robot who never actually used it. What would you trust? You would trust that person. So in the end, you really want to make sure your content has that personal experience. The highest EEAT, this comes down to being the uniquely authoritative go-to source. That's what that's all about. So when you think about that, that's answering every question on the topic, that's scaling your content, creating more content, becoming a go-to source on the topic. So EEAT isn't going away, probably not more important than ever, thanks to the amount of AI content that's going to hit the servers. So how do you get ready for what's coming? Create content with AI. Make the time for it. Right, we're in a window of opportunity you've never lived in before. I ran a writing agency, have 100 writers. I would not go back there. I would use AI as my baseline and get way more leaner. So if we know that Google says this, then we know AI content won't just be deranked. It It won't be penalized. We can actually use it, put the human touch in, and we'll still succeed. So that if you double down on answering every question on the topic, you can really win. You can cover all of the questions somebody would have on that topic, and your site will grow. That's a very basic, there's more complex ways to explain that, but if you answer every question on the topic, you get domain authority. So scaling your content is really important. This is a question that is really important to ask yourself. How much time could you save right now, right? You're thinking about the process. Maybe it's all humanly produced. What if you could put AI in there and save incredible amounts of time? So here's how content scale works. I'll run through it in a little bit. So you type in a seed keyword. This is our keyword research feature. It's a direct API call to Mingle's Keyword Finder. It helps you cluster your topics, actually get topical data and keyword data as well. So you get all of that in the tool. Here's the magic. Straight from that keyword and the topic, you can click create content. And then what you get is within 7 minutes or so, a human-like 2,500 word piece of content that's actually ready to rank. And like Marcus, he published content without any editing at all, and it worked, which was crazy. This is a 60-second YouTube video. It's really just a play button to show you that I'm not BSing. Whenever I say this is good content, I had it write something last night, and instead of doing a demo or anything like that, I was just gonna hit play. But I don't think. Next. No. Because I don't even have the mouse working here. Oh, there's the mouse. Let's see. I don't think this is gonna play. It's okay. So you can actually see examples of our content on this landing page. So you can see real life examples of what this AI content writer writes. And what we specialize in is that human-like factor where you get content that meets Google's key requirements. It has that experience. You can actually feed the AI your personal story. That's part of the AI training tab when you're setting a project. So all of that is factored into how this tool was built. It's not a VC-funded tool. It literally was built over a year. It broke. They rebuilt it, broke again. And it's a full-time team of developers and 4 LLMs with proprietary technology built into that. So it works really well. And I am a writer of 11 years now saying that AI is the future of content. Somebody who said it wasn't at all just 6 months ago. Because of technology like this exists, it's here, we can get 10x faster, reduce costs by 25 times. Why would that be? It's insane.